Welcome to the Hope Natural Health Podcast. I'm Dr. Erin Ellis, your host. On this show, we discuss all things health, hormones, and happiness with a little side of this thing called life. Angela Beyer, renowned coach and health expert, isn't just about aesthetics. She empowers women to build muscle, cultivate healthy habits, and achieve lasting well-being, sculpting bodies and shaping lives. From overcoming personal challenges to bodybuilding triumph and celebrity training, Angela's journey fuels her passion for guiding others towards physical and mental empowerment. Miss Universe title holder, author, and media mentioned, All-Star Magazine Germany, Flex Magazine, podcast guest on a winning podcast, Angela's proven methods and inspiring success stories make her a sought-after expert in the transformation arena. I'm super excited for this conversation today, so welcome to the show, Angela.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to learn more about you, what first inspired you to pursue a career in health and fitness, particularly focusing on women's health.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So my personal journey, actually, oh my gosh, typical story. You go to college, gain all the weight, then you pursue your career, end up in a office. I was stuck behind the desk and I gained a lot of weight. And what I did, very typically, whatever I could get my hands on, if it came up with like the newest diet, the fastest diet, whatever they call it, I just jumped on it, did it, ended up with a lot of health issues and suffering. Boy, was it painful. I struggled with so many things, low energy, like food thoughts all the time. Like I was all day long thinking about food, and that's not how it's supposed to be. And the weight loss journey got more and more difficult the more I yo-yoed in my 20s. And then I had to put a hard stop on it. I got my nutrition education, and then I got into strength training and transformed basically my own body, my own mindset, my whole lifestyle. And what happened though in Germany was like my demanding job, not being in a healthy relationship, made me to basically, again, put a hard stop on everything. I quit my job and I moved to the States just to learn English, get a break. I fell in love with the country. And I wanted to stay, couldn't get a work visa as a banker. That was my background at the time. I was banking. So immigration lawyer at the time told me that the only chance I have to stay in the States is if I have any special skills. So I said, the only special skill I have is I can lift things up and put them down really well. I'm really good at bodybuilding. So she's like, okay, if you can get a world champion title for the United States, you can get a green card.
Really?
Yep.
You're like, challenge on.
That's what I said. So I just prepped and I competed in natural bodybuilding. And I was able to win Miss Florida, Miss USA, got qualified for Miss Universe. And then I was able to represent the United States at the Miss Universe show. I got that title, which was super exciting. But then I knew that this was my passion. This was something I was really good at. And then I started helping others to not only transform their bodies, but also their life to get on a health path.
Oh, I love that. What a great story. And welcome to the U.S. How long have you been here now?
Oh, well, now it's quite a while, 17 years.
17 years. Okay. Awesome. So you say a lot that muscle is the organ of longevity. So why is this so important for women?
Oh, yes. So, well, sarcopenia kicks in or starts actually very early in life, meaning the loss of muscle. Now, what I see all the time with my clients, we are so focused on the scale. We are so focused on a certain amount of body weight or body fat. And we never address actually where we have the opportunity to make an impact on our health and on our metabolism and on so many other things. Meaning, if you focus on your muscle and you have healthy muscle cells, you're actually able to improve your metabolism because the glucose you eat, the carbs you eat, and we always have a hard time as women talking about carbs, I know, but the carbs you eat, well, they end up in the bloodstream as glucose, and then the pancreas gets the signal to produce insulin. Insulin is that hormone, the key, what opens up the cells, the muscle cells. And if we don't have them, and if we have not enough or damaged cells, the insulin cannot really work and the glucose cannot get into the cells. It stays in the bloodstream, goes to the liver, spills over, and that's when we create the visceral fat. And that's when women, most in their midlives, wake up and say, what just happened? Where is this belly coming from? And that's the first indication that you're not having enough muscle or your muscle cells are damaged. And that's like the start of insulin resistance. So we can really address that by focusing on the muscle. So that's your metabolism, but same with hormone balance. The muscle sends out signals when you work them to produce certain hormones. And we have a lot of systems in our body, and they work all together. And like I said, as a person, the way you can influence all those systems is by starting with your healthy muscle tissue. So we have the endocrine system, we have the metabolism. Another important thing, and we always forget about this, is bone health. And bone, muscle, I always say they're like a married couple. So if you have strong, healthy muscle, you get strong, healthy bones, and vice versa. So we need to take care of those as well, especially when the hormones drop in midlife. That's when with losing the estrogen, that's when we have problems keeping healthy bone as well. Now, they're different. And of course, again, weight bearing exercises, they're helping the bones as well. But you can really target the muscle and helping your bones to get stronger. So that's your leverage, basically. So, yeah, cognitive function, same thing. The more you exercise, the better your brain health is. So you can see how just by focusing on this one thing, how you can improve so many other aspects of your body.
So you mentioned the visceral fat or the fat around the organs, and most women gain that around the belly. Big thing, as they enter later on stages in life. So is that something that, say they're not into strength training or weightlifting, and they're just focused on cardio, because that's what a lot of women feel like they need to do to lose the weight, is do a bunch of cardio. Have you seen, clients come to you with this situation and they start strength training and this visceral fat comes off?
Yeah, so this is super interesting. Of course, I mean, I grew up in the time where I remember first time I joined the gym, the guy didn't even show me the weight room. He
Yeah.
showed me directly. He went with me to the treadmills and
Yeah.
stairmasters, and I'm like, okay. So that was actually more like a programming too. Like we were cardio bunnies. That's like what just happened.
Yeah.
Now, what happens with a lot of cardio, and this is what I always tell my clients, you stress your system so much with high intensity cardio sessions that to get rid of inflammation, that you are not able to recover as properly, that you are stressing the whole, again, system so much that it is very difficult to actually get the visceral fat off. So you want to have, especially in midlife, a healthy balance of cardio and strength training and not stressing your system as much because there's a lot going on anyway in order to get rid of the visceral fat. And the funny thing is, most of the time my clients say, actually, I'm doing less now than I did in my 20s and I'm in better shape. Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
fixing so many things. Yep.
Speaking of lifting weights and starting out, I'd be curious what your thoughts are on fueling your body. So there's a lot of theories about, not eating prior to working out, and making sure that you feel your body post working out. So I'd be curious your thoughts on nutrition and strength training.
So, yeah, of course, everybody is different and there is an individuality. I look at the client and what goes on in their life. But I have to say, just by experience, I like my women in midlife to actually have a little bit of protein right before their workout. I'm not a big fan of fasted working out for them again because the workout can stress the system so much, and I want them to have a good amount of protein. And I'm talking about like 20 grams of like protein, like whey isolate, like literally a very, very clean, easy to digest protein, nothing heavy on your system. So you're able to work out, but I want them to have something before the workout. So after the workout, I like to include carbs, so a combination of carbs and proteins to get a better recovery. So that's one of the fun meals of the day.
Yeah, right? No, should be. So there's a lot of women that struggle with building muscle. So what are some common myths or misconceptions that you would like to debunk?
Yeah, for example, women should not shy away of taking creatine as a supplement. Creatine is one of the longest and most tested supplements on the market, super safe. And for some reason, women think they are going to hold water or get bloated and no, exactly. So you literally, the creatine just helps you to pull water in the muscle cell. It's so little, but it makes the muscle just able to perform better. You're just stronger during your workouts, and that's what you want. Getting it through nutrition, very difficult, and you're not getting enough. It's like in a good steak, but how much beef can you eat a day?
Right.
So I like them to supplement with creatine. And it's not really magic with creatine. You just stay on a regular routine when you take it. You have, depending on your weight, between 3 and 5 grams. Don't do a loading phase. Like back in the days, we had like, oh, bodybuilders need to load 10 to 15 grams of creatine, all that. Just don't do that. Just keep it on a like nice amount, the 3 to 5 grams. Have some clients, they have some digestive problems with creatine, and then I recommend them to use Crea Pure. Actually, that's made in Germany, and that's 100% pure creatine. It's a little bit more gentle. It's a nuance. Most people have no problems with it, but if somebody literally experiences a discomfort in their stomach or digestive problems, they can use that one as well. But
Does
regular creatine monohydrate is fine.
does it matter when you take creatine? Is it better to take it when you're working out, before you work out, after you work out, or does it really matter?
Good question. Actually, it doesn't matter because you want to saturate your body with the creatine and it's in your system. And when you perform, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah. I recently started adding that, I think a couple months ago, and I'm not bloated. I haven't had any issues with it. So yeah, there's a
Wonderful.
lot of myths around that. Is there any other myths or misconceptions that you want to debunk around women building muscle?
I mean, there are tons of myths, but another one is actually women are scared of lifting heavy because they think they get bulky.
Yeah.
And it's a funny, funny thing. The other day, I had a mom, and her kids are 3 and 5 years old, and she only wants to lift the 5 pound dumbbells. Doesn't want to go heavier. She doesn't want to bulk up. And I'm ask her, like, are you lifting up your kids? And she's like, yeah, of course I do. I'm like, how heavy are your kids?
Yeah.
Well, eat over 30 pounds. And I'm like, think about it, like you're
Right.
lifting like your kids up, no problem, but then at the gym you don't want to lift heavy. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
So to be able to function on a daily basis, don't shy away from lifting heavy weights because you do it anyway during the day.
Right. That's funny. Yep. So did she start lifting heavier?
Yep.
Good.
Hmm.
Good. Awesome. Now she can have
Yep.
lift both kids at the same time.
That's right.
So for those cardio bunnies out there that are, not familiar with the weights or might be intimidated by the weight area, it can be intimidating, especially if you're new to it. What would you say is the best way for a woman to get started?
There are a lot of different ways, but I always like them to have a trainer, a coach, and they can start from home. They don't have to have a gym membership, so to speak. I coach a lot online, and I see my ladies in their pajamas in the morning, and it's just a very nice, comfortable environment for them.
Mm-hmm.
And we just FaceTime, or like I said, I come over to the house and train them. And it is important at the beginning to create a muscle mind connection. You have to develop the neural pathways. So you're actually activating the correct muscles for that certain exercise. So at the beginning, sometimes I start out with just the body weight, and that's heavy for them, depending
Mm-hmm.
on always where you're coming from. But I want them to have a good form first, and then we work our way up. And it's always a progression. Like we always go heavier and heavier and
Mm-hmm.
heavier to challenge the body, to put on the muscle, to get better, but also to learn the exercise first and work our way up.
I'm going to go off a little bit on topic here, but I help a lot of women too with their hormones. So how much do hormones play a role in strength training and muscle building?
It's actually very important. And I would wish that the primary care doctor or the physician would be more preventative or more aware of the situation if a woman is in midlife. And there is a lot of change going on, which I
Mm-hmm.
see and which is very nice,
Mm-hmm.
because I like to work with the doctors. But I think you have to be on it, and you have to check on a regular basis what's going on with your hormones and dial it in accordingly, because they do make a difference and it can really improve a woman's life. And of course, with this strength training, you help balancing the hormones. So you have to have a good foundation, but also get your blood work checked, see where you're at, and dial that in as well.
Yes, with hormones. So like I said, I help a lot of women, and when I run their hormone panels, most of my women that do strength training, with some HIIT or cardio in there, but I guess mostly strength training, they're all usually very low in testosterone. So can you speak a little bit about how important testosterone is for women? It kind of is another thing that women are scared of because they're like, oh my gosh, if I do testosterone, I'm going to turn into a man. Same thing like, oh, if I lift heavy weights, I'm going to turn into a man. Well, it's not true. We really need it. We don't need it as much as men, but
Yeah.
it's still really helpful. So can you explain how testosterone helps with strength?
Yeah, so I like testosterone because it does help to grow the muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And again, um, the numbers have to be dialed into the woman. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, there is always the fear of changing to a man. And this is like happens if somebody does something crazy off market, not
Right.
knowing what they're doing. But I want a physician taking care of that woman and dial them in and have the right amount of, and boy, how can I say this, what testosterone does to women, they have their oomph back. Can I say
Mm-hmm.
it that way? They
Yeah.
have a different determination, they have a different motivation. It's actually like a different person where I'm like, whoa, where is this coming from? And I
Yeah.
can always tell, okay, now they're dialed back in, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
person they want. And with low testosterone, it's almost like they're having a hard time making decisions. They have low energy.
Mm-hmm.
For them, it's very difficult to get going at the
Mm-hmm.
in the workout. makes a big difference. Yeah.
Huge difference. I've noticed, I do testosterone myself, and I've noticed a huge difference in the ability to, and it might be a combination with that and creatine, but just the endurance in the gym. I think I've heard a lot too for even my postmenopausal women. You know, they work out and they're struggling with their weight, but then when we put them on hormones, they're like, oh, wow. Like I have more stamina in the gym. And therefore they're able to lift heavier. And then guess what? They're building more muscle. So, and then that visceral fat starts to come off. So yeah, I mean, hormones play a huge role. And that's why it's important if you're, you know, seeing or not seeing changes in the gym and you're doing all the things and working really hard, go get your hormones checked and don't take normal hormone results as an answer, because in my 7+ years of practice, I have yet to see a normal set of labs as far as hormones go. They might be normal and appear normal, but they're not optimal. And it really depends on where you are in the menstrual cycle as well, if you're still menstruating.
Yes, 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 yes. And like I said, I'm sometimes a little bit disappointed that there is not more prevention or education. Actually tell those women, hey, we need to address this, or we have
Yeah.
to, there's not talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
They get put antidepressant and then they
Oh,
move
yeah.
on. And that's what I see. And it's very
Yep.
upsetting. Yeah, I
Oh,
totally
I hear
agree.
you. That's what I talk about every day. It's like, ugh, this is not the case. You're not depressed. And that's what a lot of women say. They're like, I'm not depressed. My life is great. But I don't feel
And I mean,
good.
yeah. And think about it. What is it? Like 34 different symptoms of menopause?
I
I mean,
know.
think about it.
Yeah.
There's so many things. An
Yep.
open conversation. And it's funny, they tell me those issues, but not their physician.
Yep.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
Yeah,
have
because they know
convers-
they're going to get dismissed, and it's just they're brushed off like nothing's wrong. And oh, that's just the way it is. You need to suffer. You don't need to suffer, ladies. Come see me. I
No,
can help.
absolutely not. True.
So, what is your advice for those women who struggle to balance fitness, like they really want to, you know, be healthier and exercise with their busy lives? Like most of my patients are moms who, you know, are juggling a million things, and usually exercise and fitness is the last thing, and so they're not consistent with that. So, what's your advice for someone who's struggling with that balance?
I yeah, have a lot of those clients, and the important thing is that you're not overwhelming the person. It's a small step approach. See what you can handle, and then also I love to create habit stacks. So it becomes an automaticity, and you don't have to think about it anymore. There are different things to think about, but like just an example, if somebody struggles to get the workout in, I like to train those people in the morning, because then they have a strong willpower. And I can guarantee you, your breakfast is always perfect because you wake up, you're fresh, and you're full of willpower. During the day, answering phone calls, text messages, being at work, taking care of the kids, being in traffic, yada, 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 your willpower gets sapped, and it gets lower and lower and lower. And I can guarantee you, when you don't have your food prepped for the evening, you come home, you open the fridge, and you eat whatever you see. And that's also when you make the decision not to work out, because your willpower is gone, and that's a willpower gap. And we don't want to schedule or plan on working out at that time. So either you learn how to preserve your willpower and automate as much as you can, so you're not having to make so many decisions, or you schedule it at a time where you have a strong willpower and really get it in. So like I said, there's certain tricks you can do, but automaticity and keeping it a routine is key.
Oh, that's great. Can you give us a client success story that shows the transformative power of building muscle with those healthy habits?
Oh yeah. So actually, Jean, when she came to me, she started out, oh my gosh, intimidated by the gym, never wanted to lift weights, and she only wanted to focus on the diet. And I said, you can be successful with the diet only to a certain extent. But we want to create that flux. We need to kick the metabolism in gear, so we need to do the workout. And she was very hesitant. We started out, these were big numbers, with 270 pounds, insulin resistant, yeah, high blood pressure, pre-diabetic, like the whole shaboom. Now, I worked with her for a year. This is, again, no shortcuts, no quick fixes, no fad diets. We did lifestyle changes step by step. And it's so funny. I explain something, and it's like usually the plan from A to B to C, a straight line. And then start, and life gets lively, and we hit a stop sign, a detour. We go down the ditch. I had to get her back on. So it was kind of a struggle at some times, but we made it through. And after a year, we just measured 2 weeks ago. She's down now to 170 pounds. So she
Oh,
lost
wow.
100. Yeah. And no more medications needed. So super excited. She works out more, and she walks on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So these are her two things, weightlifting and walking. That's her jam. And
Yep.
otherwise, diet. Yep.
Yeah, it's possible, ladies. You can do it. You just got to put your mind to it and have someone to help you if you don't know where to begin. It's not
Yeah.
hard. Yeah, and you're right. There are no quick fixes. There's always something with that quick fix, and the quick fixes aren't lifestyle changes. So, yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Tell me, so you have this free Wellness Warrior webinar. Tell me about that. That will be linked in our show notes for our guests, but tell me a little bit about what to expect with that webinar.
Yeah, so I, having a muscle-centric approach, I explain what kind of workouts you can do from home. It should be all convenient, easy, and simple. I talk about mindset, how you can get started, what tools you need to go on a success story here, and how to create your diet plan, or nutrition plan. I give basically the client the tools how to create their own nutrition plan. So it's not, this is what you do, yada yada. I explain okay, this is what you need, this is what you can create, and then weekly I will check in with them and they can talk to me.
Oh, awesome. Well, that's great. You have a lot of links that you shared with us, all of your Instagram, Facebook. You've got a Facebook group, your website, houseofshape.com. So all of that will be linked in the show notes. But we'll wrap it up here with one last question I ask all my podcast guests. What would be your best or favorite health tip that you can share with the audience?
Yes. So don't wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. So you should start today. Don't wait. Don't waste time. If you want to feel healthy and if you want to have the right body composition and get on a healthy path, just start now. Don't overthink it. Just start.
I love that. What great advice. I thought for sure you were going to say, pick the heavier weight.
That will come later.
Got it. Yeah, well, you got to start first, right? Awesome, Angela. It's been wonderful having you on the show. I know you inspired a lot of my women to get out there and just start and lift weights and lift heavier. So I appreciate your time today. Anything else you want to add before we sign off?
No, thank you for having me. It was awesome.
You are welcome. Well, that's a wrap, everyone. We'll see you again next week. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment below. And if you haven't done so, please be sure to give us a rating on your favorite podcast platform. Join us weekly as we inspire you to be your best version. For more, follow me on Instagram at dr.erinellis. Until next week, you got this.